I did make a little bit of mistake in that one because there were 3 prompts, and one of them was to read a book you've read but you don't remember. And I reread Villette by Charlotte Bronte, and I realized pretty quickly it wasn't that I didn't remember, it was that I blocked out the experience.
Hi, everyone. It's the Book Cougars, 2 middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. And we are really happy and excited today to be talking with BookTuber Melinda Ott. Her channel is a web of stories. Welcome.
Thank you.
The first question we had, Melinda, is how did you start booktubing? What drew you?
Well, it was kind of a long road here. So several years ago when I was at home with little kids and needed something, I started book blogging. And so that sort of came into Bookstagram, which is a little bit harder for me. I just don't, that never was I have a Bookstagram. It just isn't the same fit. And then I started watching BookTube, and after a few months, I thought, well, maybe I could do it. And at the time, my daughter, who was in 8th grade at the time, because this was October 2022, she was taking a news team class, and she was doing the filming. So she says, well, I'll help you with that. So that's how we got started. She quickly decided that news team was not something she liked. So she did her own
She handed the baton to you.
Yeah, I had to get a tripod and just do it myself after that.
Yeah, nice.
Well, that's nice. Intergenerational, tech help from the youth is always lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you use to record?
I use my phone. I thought about getting a camera, but honestly, my phone works fine for me. So, and then I just have I actually have 2 tripods, but what I usually use is just a little tabletop one.
Yeah.
And, I don't do super produced videos, so it works for me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I know people who do super produced ones with A rolls and B rolls and all that fancy stuff use their phones. I mean, phones are so much more amazing than they used to be even just a few years ago, the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm saying things that are really obvious in the world, but there you have it.
So we invited you here today to talk all things hashtags and like readathons and things like that because we wanted some schooling.
Well,
Okay.
and when we did do October. What was it? Victober. Was it?
Yeah.
No, we did Nonfiction November.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first hashtag video we tried to do. And one of our viewers, I'm used to saying listeners, Melissa asked if there was a list somewhere of all of the hashtags because she was kind of new to this. And we said we'd check it out. And so it's taken a while, but here we are in February talking with you about these.
Here, we need to move this because you keep knocking it.
I will say it's hard to make a list because there's new ones happening all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Even just yesterday, I found out of a new one. So there are some that are sort of old favorites that are always there, like Nonfiction November or Victober or Jane Austen July. Black History Month, the Heritage Month ones are kind of always there. There are some that are more gamified that people do where they have like game boards, and that's usually like choosing your TBR sort of thing. I haven't done any of those yet. I'm not against doing them. I just haven't done them yet. And then some are more niche. One I did last year, which surprised me, was June on the Range.
Oh, wow.
Reading Westerns, which I really enjoyed. I ended up enjoying that one more than I thought. So
that is a great hashtag. And Westerns I feel like are making a little bit of a comeback. It seems a lot of people are interested in like Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove.
That's a big
whole
one.
Series that's coming back.
So
interesting.
And I read 2 books for that one, and they probably were not what some people call Westerns, but they still fit. I read Lone Women by Victor Laval and Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey, and they were both excellent experiences. And I probably wouldn't have been prompted to pick them up without that readathon. So,
yeah, interesting.
That's a great segue. My question is what is the point of the hashtag? I think we should back up and tell people,
Sure.
What is your goal if you do a hashtag on your BookTube?
Okay. So when I first started my booktube, I said I wasn't going to do them because I was like, I wanted to keep my reading unencumbered. And then Nonfiction November happened. That was my first one too. And it was fun to, reading is very solitary generally. And that is a way to sort of read with other people in a way. You may not be reading the same book as a bunch of other people, but you're reading in the same genre, or you're reading with something with some sort of commonality. And once I realized that Nonfiction November was not scary, I thought, okay, well, I'll keep my eye out and I'll try some other ones that interest me. And, I've really enjoyed it. It has prompted me to read different kinds of books. I've met other booktubers doing it because they'll also be doing the readathon. And because we use hashtags, you can click on the hashtag and see the other people who are doing it and see what they're reading. So,
Yeah, that's the most fun thing. I mean, because I started as a book blogger,
mhm,
a while ago, and that's how I met other book bloggers was
mhm,
through those types of things. And then Twitter came along and made it much easier
mhm.
to find people that way. And now we have hashtags everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, building community, right, and exposing
Mhm,
yourself to different types of books is really
mhm.
fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what I enjoyed about Nonfiction November, which was my first time really being focused on
Mhm,
a hashtag where we were going to work on a video, was to just browse my shelves too and see like
mhm,
what do I have. And for me, it was a nice way to look at my shelves and not feel overwhelmed. It was like,
mhm.
you have an assignment, like
Yeah.
come up with this file. It was really fun.
And sometimes you start looking at your books a different way. You have, for example, Lone Woman, which I had a copy of. I thought of it as a horror novel.
Hmm.
That's what I had been told it was a horror novel. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is a Western as well. And so that prompted me to pick it up for June on the Range, which was a very positive reading experience. And had I not had that, it would have still, I would have picked it up in October. I don't know, but it made me look at my books a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
very
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah, I mean, one of the drawbacks, and it's something I identified with and changed my reading goals for the year a little bit, is that I found myself in the past holding books back and not reading them until a certain month came along. And
mhm,
it dawned on me, like, Chris, you can read the book that you want to read when you want to read it. And
mhm.
then when Victober rolls around, you can read another Victorian novel. Like,
Yes.
what? Like, how hard is that? So, you know, yes,
Mhm.
Yes, fear.
mischief managed.
Right. Fear of not having, the book to fill in the hashtag. I suspect none of us would have that
Right?
problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
always more books.
right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yes, indeed.
So, yeah, I can see that. I think for me, though, the hashtags work in the opposite way. They prompt me to pick up books that I wasn't picking up. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a very cool thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you try, so like when you, let's talk about June on the Range. Did
Mhm,
you also, it's to me, it's kind of the same concept of making your to-do list attainable. So did you
mhm.
just pick a couple books or did you have a huge stack and you got to two of them?
I just picked, actually, I had originally only planned to read Lone Women. And then a friend of mine told me about Upright Women Wanted, and it sounded like a fun book. And I thought, well, I will read that too. Lots of times with these readathons, there are prompts, like 5 or so prompts that you can do if you'd like. But really, the goal is just to read one in
Okay.
there to kind of expand your horizons a bit. But yeah, I try not to have a huge stack for any of them because I have other reading I want to do too. But
Right.
Yeah.
That was my mistake with Nonfiction November. I think I came with like 20. So
Mhm. Well, and that's what I do for Sue Jackson's Big Book Summer.
Mhm,
The first time I did it, I think I had that. Like, I wanted to read all of these books, and now
mhm,
I make a stack of hopefuls.
yeah.
And like, if I read one of them, I'm happy.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, with hers, I choose three, and I do one for each month. And then then I always have surprise ones because I'm reading them on my e-reader, and I don't know that they're big books until I'm done with them. But my strategy for Big Book Summer is 3 books.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're planning on doing that one this year?
Of course, yeah. I've actually chosen my first book already for that one
Oh.
because we were talking about it last year and how she always tries to start with a Stephen King. And so, I thought, I've always wanted to read 11/22/63. And she says, that's a big book. So I said, okay, I'll read it.
That one has a great audio as
Oh,
well.
does it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Maybe I'll
listen
do
to
that.
us. We're off. We're off. So
Yeah.
maybe we should talk about Sue's Big Book Summer
Mhm.
since we
Yeah.
mentioned it already.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, she's been doing that for, I'm not sure how many years.
Over 10.
Yeah, a long time, and it's
Yeah.
something she started for herself, you
Mhm.
know, and then as book people do who are on any type of social media, you
Mhm.
open it up to your friends, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you meet complete strangers that way, which is lovely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so Sue's is books of 400 pages or more,
Mhm.
and you reading just one,
Yeah.
is qualifies you to be, if you choose to participate, like,
Mhm.
officially, she
Yeah.
always does a giveaway, and I
Mhm.
won. I was a winner one year. I won a
Oh,
gift
really?
card. Yeah. So, and that's like an official one.
Mhm.
So for viewers who just make that kind of distinction, some of these are hosted by people,
Mhm.
and you can enter officially and
Yeah.
potentially win a prize or get a star,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then others are just general jump
Mhm.
in, everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
Suze's, so there's also sort of along with Suze, there's one called March of the Mammoths, which I have not done. And I may do it this year because I have a book picked out, but I like Suze because it's 3 months. And that's
Mhm.
another thing, is not all of these are just 1 month. Hers is 3 months, which
Yes.
is a season, and it makes it a lot more attainable for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, hers goes from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the United States, those holidays,
yeah.
basically May to September.
So tell me
Yeah.
about March of the Mammoths.
It's the same idea, but I think a mammoth is 500 pages or more, and you're supposed to start it during March. So they
Wow.
give you a little bit of grace that you don't have to finish it in March.
Oh, wow. Well, I qualify for that already with one I have coming up then.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Are we
So,
allowed to ask you which one you have lined up for that?
yeah, I'm going to read the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I was actually originally planning to do it for February, and I'm like, I can push that one to March. Because you can read books by African American authors all year long, and you should. So
Yes,
Right.
100%.
yeah.
I think, Melinda, you have more that you want to talk about. I don't know if there's a way to do them in order, or if we should just stop talking and let you talk for a little bit.
Want me to go through some of the ones that I've done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the ones that I'm doing right now is year long, and it's Historathon. So it's divided into 4 quarters with a time period each one. And the goal for this one is to read nonfiction history. So the first quarter is prehistory to 500. So I read a book about ancient Greece, and I'm reading one about ancient Rome, and I'll figure out what I'm doing for second quarter when we get there.
That's exciting. I like
Yeah.
that one.
Um, so there is that one. There is one called People April that started last year, which is focusing basically on memoir or biography. And that one, they did some prompts, but they also did a group read, which I wasn't able to get the book, so I didn't do, but they are going to do that one again this year. So if you haven't really done a lot of memoir reading, this is a great way to do it, even if you just do the group read, because then you have the support and the discussion with that one. And I've talked about June on the Range, and of course Big Book Summer. There's one called Garb August, which I do not do, but it's about reading garbage. You read books that people consider garbage, and just for enjoyment. And I think it's a great idea. The reason I don't do it is I don't actually enjoy those kind of books.
Well, I don't even know
But
what that means. What is a garbage book? I don't think any book should be garbage.
no, but they're
Oh,
talking things like um, some of the books that they talked about. There was uh, Tetris Erotica. I remember that one being mentioned.
Mhm.
um, Lots of 70s romance novels, like the Harlequin series novels, monster books, usually your pulpy
Yeah.
paperback things.
okay.
Okay.
Um, I really enjoyed watching the videos for those, though, so I look forward to that one, even though I don't participate in it. There's Jane Austen July, which I am going to be doing for the first time this year, because one of my goals is to reread a Jane Austen novel and see if I like it, because so far I have not liked Jane Austen, but I've only read her academically.
Yeah,
So
she gets better, I think, with age.
Okay, good. I'm gonna read Persuasion.
Oh,
So
yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorites.
oh, good.
Not
I'm
that it
reading it.
matters, but
Well, I thought hard about this one because I chose it because it's the one I remember least about. So I'm going in with the freshest slate, but also I know it's a second chance romance, and I know that romance is the book Cougars theme for the year. That's probably my favorite trope. So I thought I'm setting myself up for success by doing that one.
nice,
That's
nice.
great.
there's um there's always spooky season, which is not a hosted event. No one really hosts it, but reading horror novels and spooky novels is a very popular thing. And people say spooky season as a tag. And then last year, they started one in December called Remember December, which was just rereading.
Mhm.
And that one I loved because I'm someone who wants to reread, but I never do. So it gave me permission to do that. So,
And that's such a nice time of the year to reread too, because
mhm,
people are often really busy
mhm,
with the holidays and family and end of the year stuff at work. And so to
yeah,
read something you already, so you don't, and I've done that on vacation, like take a reread because you don't get swept up in it quite the same way,
yeah,
so you don't feel resentful towards your family
Right.
because like you need to finish this chapter. Yeah, that's
right.
what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did make a little bit of mistake in that one because there were three prompts. One of them was to read a book you don't remember, you've read, but you don't remember. And I reread Villette by Charlotte Bronte, and I realized pretty quickly it wasn't that I didn't remember, it was that I blocked out the experience. I did finish it. The other two prompts were much more successful, but that one was like, oh, that one was painful.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a reason we don't remember.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and as I said, there's more coming up all the time. I mean, every day someone's announcing another one, and you can just kind of pick and choose what works for you. And
Yeah.
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 so,
It's exciting. And I noticed like even in the different outlets for lack of a better word, you have the ones that are more popular on YouTube, some
mhm,
that more on Instagram, book
mhm.
bloggers are still going to town. I know there was one Austin in August,
Oh, okay. I
which
haven't
is the
heard of
same
that
as
one.
Jane in July. Yeah, Austin in
Uh-huh.
August was pretty big for a while. I think it's retired now, but
Hmm.
yeah, so you find these things in different places too.
Mhm.
And on
Yeah.
Goodreads, I think some
Yeah.
people um,
Yeah.
have groups set up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I
And
know does for Big Book Summer Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Some of them do. I know Nonfiction November does. And then there was a request on their Goodreads to set up a Discord. So I set up a Discord for Nonfiction November. So there's also that. And that's another great thing is you can have these kind of conversations with people outside of just videos and comments.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Discord and like Voxer,
Voxer,
one I
yeah.
know a lot of people use. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing a lot of groups going to Discord.
It's an easy platform, I think, and you can choose different ones to fit whatever topics you're interested in.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
And we will put all of this down below, everybody, for your reference. So don't start to.
Yeah.
We probably should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah. Right. Say that at the beginning. Yeah. And we'll list a bunch of these for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what are there any that you're doing right now that you're in?
Right. Well, right now we're in February now. We're not in January anymore. I am doing Historathon right now. I'm also not really part of the readathon hashtag thing, but I have this year decided to judge for the BookTube prize. So that's taking a chunk of my reading, by which is fun. It's great. It's a kind of a different sort of readathon that you can't talk about.
Yeah.
So, um, but I will be, as I said, I am going to do March of the Mammoths and People April, and then we're gonna. At that point, we have another one is Horror Mayhem, which is horror in May.
Oh,
Um, so
That
I think
sounds
after
good.
starting in March, I'm pretty much booked through the end of the year.
wow.
Nice.
Do you have a calendar that you keep?
No, I just know because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, I
Just,
guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps it on your radar.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I have a question, not related to the reading months or hashtags, but like how do you consume other booktubers content? Like do you just watch them as they come in, or do you have kind of a schedule in your head about, oh, Tuesdays I watch this person's videos? How do you work that?
I have a very complicated system, but I follow a lot of booktubers. I don't unsubscribe when I subscribe to someone unless they're really huge. And I just, for whatever reason, I'm not watching them. But I do have the booktubers that I have developed a relationship, or we have something in common. And, I tend to prioritize those. And then I have the rest. And group A, I organize in a playlist from longest to shortest. And the rest I organize in the same playlist, shortest to longest. So I get through. It is complicated, but it works for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really cool to know.
Yeah.
You could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was trial and error to get to that point. So
I mean, you have to organize your time because it's also, it builds your TBR to watch them. So you have to be aware of that and also give yourself time to do your reading. And these are reading people's problems here.
It is. And I just thought of a good idea for a horror film is to have like a book person tied up in a chair just watching an endless loop of BookTube videos, and they can't write anything down or access their Goodreads
or read.
Right.
That is a very frightening horror movie.
That's hilarious.
Oh gosh.
Wow. And you do a lot of e-reading, right?
I do. Yes, I do e-reading. I read in all three formats. Audio is probably my least used one, only because I'm a slow audiobook listener. I'm not someone who can really multitask. But if you take audiobooks out, I'm probably 50-50 print and e-reading. But I'm also a book polygamist. I have a lot of books going at once. So
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So this month is Black History Month, and I do try to do Black history because I think you should be reading African American writers all year long. But the one that I am currently reading is Indigo by Beverly Jenkins, which is the Book Cougars book for this quarter. I have thoughts. I will hold it for our discussion. And the second one actually came to me through the BookTube Prize, but I was hoping to read it anyway. And it's the one I'm first on the whole list at the library, so hopefully it'll come in soon. And that is King, A Life by Jonathan Eig. It's the new memoir or biography of Martin Luther King Jr. I've heard really good things about it, that it's a very balanced view of him. So and obviously I know who Martin Luther King Jr. is and I know about his life, but I've never actually read a biography of his except maybe in grade school. So I am really looking forward to reading that one.
Oh,
yeah, I've heard great things about that one as well. Yeah.
Well, we're excited that you're participating in the read along with us, and we count on you to have thoughts, Melinda. So
yes.
Thank you. We're excited about that. Should I go next?
Sure, go for it.
Well, first I want to say that I think the first time I read a kid's biography, like a biography that was written for children, was about Martin Luther King. And I remember the house I grew up in from the age of 5 was at the end of the library parking lot entrance.
Oh.
I could go walk over to the library by the time, when I was pretty young. My parents allowed me to do that. Yeah. And I can still vividly remember finding that section of the library and just thinking like, I can read about all these people, and picking that one up and just sitting down right there in the stocks reading it. So fun. Yeah. So the two I'm excited about for Black History Month are Black Love Matters.
Oh.
And this was actually one of our listeners, Katie, told us about this one, and it's edited by Jessica P. Pride. But I think there's 14 essays about Black love, including one by Beverly Jenkins, who's the author.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. There's also Jasmine Guillory, who's a romance author that I have read, and hers is titled Food of Love.
Oh, I'm sure you love that one.
Yeah, she always has so much food in her novels. So
she does.
Yeah, so I'm going to just hold this up a little closer. It's got a cool cover.
Cool.
Nice.
And then the other one is a culinary memoir called Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghosts.
Oh.
This is a beautiful book. I cannot say enough about it.
Oh,
There's
so cool.
beautiful photographs in here. And the subtitle is Stories and Recipes from 5 Generations of Black Country Cooks. And it's by Crystal Wilkinson. And she grew up in Black Appalachia in Kentucky. And she goes back 5 generations and talks about her family. And there's beautiful recipes and pictures.
Show the picture on the back because this cake is making me drool. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's delicious looking.
Yeah.
Have you tried any of the recipes yet?
I have. I made these praise song biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful book. I cannot say enough about it.
I'm going to look into that one. So
yeah.
Nice. Well, the first one I'm reading is historical fiction. And this is The Mayor of Maxwell Street by Avery Cunningham.
Okay.
And
I've seen that one around.
Yeah. This one, it's about a woman in Chicago, Prohibition era, 1920s. And it's about, the Black experience during that time. And she is a wealthy woman. And I'm looking forward to reading it because so much of that time period is all about Al Capone and the gangsters.
Yeah.
Which, you grow up in that area and that's all you hear about,
Yeah.
And then the other one, I believe I downloaded the audio for this already, but it's Black AF History, The Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot.
Someone I know just read that on BookTube, and I can't remember who it was, but I remember them really liking it.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so those are mine. So an actual history and then historical fiction I thought I'd go for.
Great.
Yeah.
Such great reading.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll all have to check in with each other at the end of the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
well, Melinda, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And Melinda's channel again is called A Web of Stories, and we will put that link down below. Give her a watch.